What's going on? Excuse me, 1 second, okay. This video is gonna be really important because we're gonna discuss how you can use intermittent fasting and certain strategies to make getting lean so absolutely easy. So, just to catch up to speed, I've been doing intermittent fasting for 5 years, every day. I don't eat breakfast. I've been doing this for 5 years. It's been such an invaluable tool, but for the first few years, I didn't really get the results I wanted. I follow a lot of the conventional approach, you know, that Martin Burkhan talked about for the first couple years, and it was more of a struggle. But over the course of 5 years, I've worked with hundreds of clients, I've coached thousands of people, and I've experimented, and I've actually found a strategy that makes intermittent fasting so incredibly easy and enjoyable, like it's not even funny. I was like looking at pictures of celebrities, like I saw some pictures of like celebrities like that. Who's that one singer? It's really popular. Oh my God, I don't remember. But like a lot of these people, like these celebrities, have to be in such good shape, so lean. A few years ago, I could never imagine having to stay in that shape. It would just be like this brutal burden and struggle. How do I be so lean? But now it's really hard for me not to be lean. Like right now, for example, the abs are there, and my diet is so downright enjoyable. So I want to give a few tips that will make intermittent fasting really easily. And we're just going to run through these. If you want to make notes, make notes. But just to kind of preface, the reason you want to do intermittent fasting is like, there's multiple reasons. If you can get to the point where you're pushing your first meal, you don't even have a single calorie until well into the afternoon, well, think about how enjoyable dieting is going to be. Because now you have like this small window where you can eat a ton of food. If you spread that out throughout the entire day, it's not fun. You put that into one, two, 3 meals, or you condense that, it is way, way more enjoyable. So that's one reason. So intermittent fasting gives you a ton of dietary freedom. Also, you're way more productive. Imagine going, several hours into the day without even having to think about food, preparing food, nothing like that. And imagine feeling, the mental alertness that comes from being in that fasted state. Really powerful stuff. I'm so productive in the fasted state. So you're going to experience heightened fat burning because your body's fat burning machinery will be ramped up from growth hormone. It's actually going to preserve muscle really well. I mean, there's life extension benefits. There's a reduced risk of several diseases. I mean, fasting's really powerful stuff. It's not fully mainstream yet, but in the next few years, it's going to become more and more and more mainstream. But right now, it's not. But so let me go through a few tricks that I use to make intermittent fasting really, really effortless. Let's start with the first one. Okay. So the premise of intermittent fasting, the way I use it, is simply to give you more dietary freedom. Push that first meal later into the day. Instead of eating as soon as you wake up, wait. And I recommend waiting at least 4 hours. If you get more advanced, you can go 6, 7, 8 hours into the day without waking. I don't recommend having like an exact starting time that you eat your first meal because that's just too strict. The same way I don't recommend having like a stop time to your day. It's just too strict. You don't need that. Why do you have to like put all these rules around your eating schedule? Instead, just listen to your body, but just try and push that first meal later into the day. That is the exact premise. And I talk to a lot of people that get stressed out with intermittent fasting because like, oh, I have to have my first meal at 1 and I have to stop eating at 9. Well, what if you can't get home to eat until 10 or 11? Are you not supposed to have your last meal? It's crazy. At the end of the day, it's about hitting those calories. It's about making the diet as enjoyable as possible so you're full. You don't need to stick to exact start and end time. And also like let's say you wake up at 10 a.m. Is it really fasting if you have your first meal at 12 or 1? No. Let's say you wake up at 5 a.m. Do you really need to go until 1 or 2 to eat? No. So I mean, you want to adapt it to your schedule, and the way I do it is focus on pushing your first meal at least 4 hours after waking, but ideally 6, 7, 8. And to make fasting really effortless, I mean, you don't want to really think about it. Just go about your day, get a bunch of stuff done, and understand that this is really good for you. And your body is designed to function very well in the fastest state. It's not weird, okay? Going without food is not weird at all. This is what your body is meant to do. Your body's going to kick up energy through increasing fat burning. So you have all the energy you need when you're doing intermittent fasting. Don't worry at all. Secondly is your cortisol really peaks in the morning. That also helps stimulate you, get you out of sleep, and helps with fat burning. But So you actually, there's a really, really cool strategy. And I talk about, using black coffee to blunt appetite, which goes hand in hand with fasting, because coffee will help with fat burning, energy, increase norepinephrine, but you don't want to use coffee right away. This tip in itself is so powerful. So when you wake up, let's say you wake up at 9, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm gonna have my coffee. If you start drinking coffee right away, you're actually gonna get hungry a lot earlier than if you were to wait. So what I do is, for the first few hours, I won't use any coffee whatsoever, no caffeine. So let's say I wake up at 9 a.m., I probably won't have my first cup of coffee until 12. And it's really easy. It's not even that hard to fast for the first few hours without coffee. It's actually quite easy. One really powerful trick is to drink sparkling water or club soda. Carbonated water really helps fill you up. There's all sorts of benefits to drinking sparkling water. It's higher in minerals, really cool stuff. So if you have like a 750 milliliter bottle of sparkling water that you drink during the first couple hours, you're gonna have no issues with fasting, no issues whatsoever. If you're brand new to fasting, you might have issues like, oh, I have a hard time, with hunger or energy, but like your body will adapt very, very, very quickly. This is what it's evolved to do. So have like a bottle of sparkling water for the first few hours, then wait at least 2 hours, even 3, and then have coffee. Black coffee, I do Americanos. I don't do that many. I'll have like 2 tall Americanos slowly over the course of a few hours, and that really blunts your appetite, increases energy and focus, and next thing you know, you feel like in this amazing state of bliss, and it's been several hours. So for example, let's say I wake up at 9, I have sparkling water, I have my first coffee at 12, I have another one at 1:30, it's 3 o'clock, and I'm already like in this amazing state of bliss. That's 6 hours without eating, and it was so easy. And then I could go another 2 hours if I wanted to. And one really important tip is don't drink coffee after your first meal. Only use it in that fastest state, that little 2-3 hour window. So you have just sparkling water for the first 2-3 hours, and you have coffee for like a couple hours, and then you cut it out. That way your body maintains a sensitivity to it. If you have coffee all night long, it's not gonna work. You wanna use it in that little window. The best time to work out would be sometime after you have coffee and before your first meal. That's my favorite time to work out. Sometimes I'll work out late in the evening without any caffeine before, because I do not like to use caffeine at night, which is fine. And I don't like to work out really in the morning, but some people do that with great results. In which case, you could train without any coffee first thing in the morning. Like, that's what I would do if I was working in the morning, because I want to use that coffee strategically to blunt my appetite. And then another tip is, let's say you're hungry, don't just have a huge meal. Instead, have a couple pieces of fruit, an apple, a banana, something like that will blunt your appetite really easily, because sometimes the first signs of hunger is actually your depletion in liver glycogen. And you can replenish that with just a bit of fruit, just an apple or banana, and then all of a sudden you're full for a couple hours. Really cool stuff. This works for a lot of people. A ton of people this works with. Some people, it might not do anything for you, but for most people to talk to, it helps a ton. So usually what I'll do is I'll fast late into the day. When I get hungry, I'll have an apple, and then then I'll train, or then I'll just go another hour, and then I'll have a big meal. Now let's get into some of this important stuff. So now at this point, you've fasted for a while, you're well into the day, and you have this huge buffer to hit your calories. And remember, fat loss is about a calorie deficit. Building muscle is about really getting stronger and having enough calories to grow. So at the end of the day, it all comes down to the calories. You need enough protein to maintain muscle. I suggest having a good amount of fats and carbs, because both are important. But it comes down to the calories. So if your goal is to get lean, it's putting yourself into a calorie deficit. And so what I really recommend people to do is, if you're doing intermittent fasting, you have calories you want to hit, but also listen to your body. If you're trying to have if you're having this huge meal to break your fast, but you're really full really quickly, listen to your body and just be like, you know what, I don't need to finish the meal. If you go into a bigger calorie deficit, if you're taking less calories than you're supposed to, you're just going to lean up faster. So listen to your body. Contrarily, if you want to have like a small meal first and a bigger meal at night, but you have the small meal and you're like, oh my God, I'm still hungry, listen to your body. Eat more, okay? When you're doing fasting, you really want to listen to your body. You do not, when you're fasting for 6, 7, 8 hours, you do not want to be hungry during the feeding window. That defeats the purpose. So in the past, I tried to be too strict on my diet, and it would work against me because I'd be hungry and then I'd end up binge eating. So don't force yourself to do something that doesn't feel right. So once you start eating, eat to fulfillment, eat foods that really fill you up. For me, it's a lot of lean meats and veggies. I actually don't eat that many veggies anymore. For me, I just eat food I like potatoes, pop chips, chocolate, steak. I eat like plantains, like anything I enjoy, I'll usually eat, because the beautiful thing is with intermittent fasting, you can eat foods that are higher in calories because you have the room to work with. If you don't, you might just get too hungry. So I gravitate to a lot of like, you know, just normal food, burgers, fries, all this. This is what people see my Instagram, they think it's a joke. No, this is what I eat. But it's okay. I feel absolutely amazing having like a lot of steak and chocolate and pop chips and French fries. That's how I feel amazing. Because I'm doing intermittent fasting, I'm working into my calories, it's completely fine. So don't try and be too stringent when you eat. You know, eat foods you enjoy. Remember, you have a certain amount of calories you can eat, so enjoy life. And you don't have to just have 1 meal, 2 meal, 3 meals. You could have one huge meal, and then you could snack on like chocolate and stuff. That's what I do. Like for me, it's usually I'll fast, have a couple pieces of fruit, I'll eat one massive meal, and then maybe some like a chocolate bar at night, maybe some pop chips here and there. Maybe I'll make some cheese quesadillas. But I only have primarily one big meal, and then just a bunch of a couple of random things to kind of just bridge the gap or satisfy me. That's the way I like to do it. So in the past, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to have 3 balanced meals. It was no fun. I was like, oh, I don't get to eat that huge meal I want to because I'm having 3. So I'd rather just have like 1 or 2 big meals and then something smaller, like a dessert. So listen to your body and see what works best for you. Make notes. Find out how this best works for you. That is a really, really important point. So the fasting thing can be extremely enjoyable. You can eat right before you go to bed. Sometimes I'll eat like literally right before I go to bed. That's completely fine. You know, there's nothing wrong with eating before bed. Some people talk about, oh, if you eat before bed, insulin and then growth hormone. It's like, you know, growth hormone will still be released pretty well throughout the entire night because it's released in a pulse-like fashion. So if you have insulin high when you go to sleep, eventually it'll taper off, and then you get this huge boost in growth hormone. So it's really nothing to worry about. So I mean, I don't know, like those are all my main tips on intermittent fasting. Like find meals that you really enjoy. You know, I have some amazing recipes that I make from Kino Chef. It's a cookbook I did. Awesome if you want to eat big, filling, satisfying meals that are satiating. If you want to eat meals that fit perfectly with intermittent fasting because they're big, then check out Kino Chef, KinoBody.com/chef. One other really badass tip that's so powerful, this tip's worth a lot of money because it's helped me a lot. One of my favorite things to do is, let's say I'm having a big meal, I'll have like just the meat or whatever, just the veggies, or just like pretty much everything but the carbs. So I have this huge portion. Maybe I go to Chipotle, I get a triple steak bowl with cheese, no rice, maybe some beans, and then I save my carbs for after. And I won't eat carbs right away. I'll wait a bit. So what happens is you're separating this main meal into the big portion and then the side of carbs, and it will help you keep you fuller longer. Imagine if I give you a plate of steak and fries and you eat it all together, okay? Probably you might feel like eating a couple hours later. You might be like, oh, what's next? I want to eat something after. But if I just give you like the steak and the veggies, you eat the steak and your veggies, you hang out, you chill, and then a couple hours later, it's like, hey, here are the fries. Then all of a sudden you're like, you don't even need any food later, because it's like you kind of broke it up and you made it like 2 rewards. So it's a weird little trick, but I do that. Sometimes I'll like, if I'm going to meet friends out, I'll cook a nice big protein meal here, and then I'll go out with them and I'll get some fries or plantains or sweet potato. I love plantains right now. Sweet potato fries. Or other times I'll like, cook a big meal or get like some protein out there, and then I'll have a bag of pop chips a couple hours later. Separating those 2 meals, or separating the huge meal and breaking up the carbs and having them a bit after, helps a ton. Or you could just have a bunch of protein and have like a dessert a bit later. Remember, it's about hitting the calories, dialing them in the most enjoyable way possible. This is why intermittent fasting is so amazing. Probably pretty soon I'm going to be working with really, really big people, because most people in Hollywood, musicians, all these people really struggle to be lean. It's a miserable experience. Like Channing Tatum getting ready for Magic Mike 2 is hell. These guys haven't learned how to get lean and enjoy it, how to get lean so effortlessly. I wouldn't be this lean if it was hard work. And I'm not this lean naturally, because if you look back a couple years ago, I have pictures of me at 195 and 16% body fat. That was when I was struggling. I was like trying to diet so hard. Here's a little thing. In the last 5 years, I've never gone onto an intentional bulk. Never. When I was gaining weight and I went from like the 170s up to 190, I was trying to cut the whole time. So I'm not someone that just gets lean really effortlessly. I had to learn this stuff and make that calorie deficit so enjoyable and find all these different strategies that really help. I've actually created, the course that's helped me the most is my aggressive fat loss program. Like, it's been a total game changer. I have thousands and thousands of people doing that program. It's at KinoBody.com/AFL. I'll leave a link here. It's so powerful. There's also some really important bonus drills that go into psychology and creating behavioral change that have helped me, because that was a huge lesson. Is you need the best diet strategies, and then you got to, you know, change your outlook. You have to kind of alter your outlook a little bit, which is really important. I'll touch base on that in another video, but it's like, it's really, really important. I've even gone to stuff like self-hypnosis, which has been helpful, and stuff I talk about in the program. But it's just been really helpful. I was very skeptical, but then when I researched it and started using it, it was powerful. Training is really unnecessary for fat loss. Like cardio, you definitely want to do strength training. You know, it's very important, so you maintain muscle, you build a great physique, and all the fat you lose is body fat. But I don't really do any cardio. I'll walk. I'll try and walk, you know, 30 to 60 minutes a day. That's really important. But I found that when I did this intermittent fasting, I did a lot of cardio on top of it. It would just make me want to eat more. It would just make it a lot harder, and it made the diet less enjoyable. So I found that I was actually having a harder time leaning down with cardio because it just made me want to eat more. So I just do a lot of walking, which has no impact on appetite. So you'll induce a bigger calorie deficit without an increase in appetite, which is the most important thing. People think of exercise and cardio one-dimensionally. They just think about burning 500 calories, burning 800 calories, but they don't look at the big picture. How does that affect your total daily calorie consumption? So I actually find that cardio is pretty much useless when you're using intermittent fasting. Just go for a walk. If you're intermittent fasting and then doing a ton of cardio, it's gonna just make you want to eat more. You already have as much freedom as you need when you're doing intermittent fasting. You don't need to burn 600, 700, 800 calories from running. It's just gonna make life harder. But yeah, those are pretty much my intermittent fasting tips. Don't really think about the fact that you're fasting. Just fucking do it. It's so good for you. It's amazing. You're gonna feel great. And it's gonna make the diet so enjoyable. And when you're intermittent fasting, like, people want to be like, oh, I'm gonna do fasting, I'm gonna do paleo diet, and then no carb, and then this and that. It's like, dude, okay, less is more. Just do the intermittent fasting, okay? You know, have the calorie ballpark you're going for, and just enjoy life. You want carbs, you want fats. These are important for you, for hormonal functioning, for satiety. The main thing is, are you enjoying the diet and seeing results? If you're seeing results and not enjoying the diet, that's a fail. That's a fucking fail, okay? If you're enjoying the diet and you're not seeing results, that's also a fail. You want both. So I focus on being able to fully enjoy the diet, so it's so easy, there's no willpower, because that's how you're gonna win in the long run. That's the only way I could stay lean and get lean, is I had to enjoy it. So that's how I really approached my courses and programs. Let's make building an amazing physique the most rewarding, enjoyable thing ever. Makes it so powerful. Okay, that's all I want to talk about, guys. Really important. I want to share this knowledge with as many people as possible. It sucks that people are suffering all over the world to get lean when this information is readily available. So if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, share it. Think about right now, a couple people that would benefit from this. Share it, man. It'll help me, and help them, you know, and you'll be a cool guy, girl. And subscribe if you've not already. And that's that. So if you want to like learn the full-blown programs, getting really, really, really lean, that's aggressive fat loss at KinoBody.com/AFL. Really cool stuff. If you don't really care about getting lean really quickly and dropping a bunch of fat, take the KinoBody Physique survey over here. Find out the best program, you know, to really build that physique shape of mine, and exactly what you need to focus on for your physique type. You know, there's different physique types you can fall into. Depending on what you fall into, you need to focus on a slightly different strategy. But that's all. I hope this helped. It was a bit like all over the place, but the knowledge is there. There's some major tips in there, so I hope you use it. Bye.